everybody, I'm Tori.
And I'm Nathan.
And we are Tori and Nathan Travel. Thanks so much for watching this video. I'm guessing it's because you are in the middle of planning a road trip around Iceland. And if that is the case, we are so glad that you are here because we did the very same thing and we had an amazing time. And so we wanted to come on and make a video documenting exactly how we planned for our trip. Actually, Nathan planned out our trip.
I'm a big planner, guys.
I found the flight tickets and had a great time.
Yeah, that's how our trips usually work. She's like, hey, there's cheap tickets to so-and-so. And I'm like, all right, book them. And then I spend the next month like, all right, here's exactly what we're going to do while we're there.
So anyway, between the two of us, hopefully we can share some golden nuggets with you that you can hopefully go on to plan an awesome trip for yourself. So Nathan, tell us a little bit about transportation when planning a trip to Iceland.
Will do. So transportation is very important no matter what country you're in, but it varies from country to country. Say if you're in Europe, you can take trains a lot of places. You're not going to be able to do that in Iceland, right? You basically need to go ahead and just plan on having a rental car, and we recommend your rental car being a camper van. If you want to know why, go watch our video about why you should rent a camper van for the Ring Road. Great idea. I'm not going to elaborate on that now, so go watch the video. But either way, whether you're doing a rental car or camper van, there's a lot you need to know about driving in Iceland. We
are just going to kind of
quickly
go through this video as if you are doing it with a camper van or camping, just so you know, because we didn't really have experience with lodging except that it's really expensive.
Right.
So.
But most of the things we talk about will apply no matter how you're traveling in Iceland. So the first thing you might be wondering is, do I need four-wheel drive? And you don't necessarily need four-wheel drive. You can do the whole Ring Road on a two-wheel drive vehicle, which is what we did, and you'll be absolutely fine, especially if there's no snow, okay? If you do want to go into the highlands, you have to take mountain roads, which are called F-roads, and it's actually illegal to drive on those without a four-wheel drive. So don't even try it. You know, it's because it's dangerous. You'll end up getting stranded and possibly die.
Side note, the highlands is the whole middle
of
Iceland, which there's not even really that many like iconic things to see in it. So most of your common sites are going to be along the Ring Road anyway, so that's awesome for two-wheel drive cars.
So you don't have to worry about that. If you feel more comfortable, there's plenty of four-wheel drive vehicles. In fact, I'd say maybe as far as Iceland goes compared to other countries, more four-wheel drive versus two-wheel drive than any other country, but you're okay with two-wheel drive. The other thing you should think about is whether or not you're okay with automatic or manual. I am not a person that drives manual cars, which stick shift, frequently. I've learned how in the past, but I had to relearn for Iceland because the camper van we rented was a manual. And I was able to pick it up pretty quickly. The only trouble I had was a little bit in the city of Reykjavik, the capital, because it's just busier with a lot of stoplights. But honestly, even someone that's inexperienced, once you get out into the countryside, there's not a lot of traffic, there's not a lot of, tight corners, like, you're fine. You can pick it up, it's no problem.
Occasionally there is hills.
We did get stuck on a dirt hill in, not mountains, but kind of like
cliffs,
foothills, no guardrails, steep drop-offs, dirt road, raining, mud, and I was stalling out halfway up a big hill. Took us 3 tries. She was scared to death. She thought we were going to die. I was just trying to convince her that we weren't, but secretly I was thinking we were going to die. So that was a scary time. So that could have been avoided with an automatic or with a four-wheel drive. So
yeah, and usually though, it wasn't a mountain road, like it wasn't an F-road, so you were fine to do it legally with two-wheel drive, but I don't know why our GPS took us on that road.
Yeah, we were trying to save some time. I think the actual Ring Road kind of circled around the hilly region, and we were thinking, you know what? GPS says it'd be quicker to go through here.
An hour.
So we decided to take the chance, and in hindsight, maybe we shouldn't have just stuck on the Ring Road and we'd been fine, but
we live to tell. All is well. Our van was fine. We made it. Nathan is an expert at driving stick shift.
I feel like I really got a good grasp of driving stick shift now. But if you're not comfortable with stick shift, you need to go ahead and plan on booking an automatic. Book it in advance because there's not as many of them, so you need to make sure to book it if you really want it.
Or get comfortable with it before you go.
Yeah. Or drive a manual before you go. Make sure you know how. So that's very important. The other thing to know about driving in Iceland is that the road rules are mostly the same. If you're from America, at least, you're used to driving on the right side of the road, and that stays the same. There's not a lot that's different as far as rules. The only thing you'll see that you might not be used to is that every now and then when you cross a bridge, especially when you're out away from the cities, the bridge will be a one-lane road, so it's like a yield sign at the front of the bridge. So if there's someone else coming, you wait till they're off the bridge and it's empty, and then you can go. So just don't get stuck on a bridge with oncoming traffic. You're not going to get hurt, but it's just, you'll really annoy the locals.
They'll get mad.
Another thing to remember is that you better be careful if you want to speed in Iceland. We do not recommend speeding because that's breaking the law, and we would never recommend that you break the law. With that being said, I did get a speeding ticket. And that is because there are speeding cameras everywhere. Although we did avoid the speeding cameras, we got caught by a policeman anyway.
By the one cop we saw.
So even if you think you're good at seeing the speeding cameras in a distance, don't mess with it. Don't even try it. Because there are speeding cameras everywhere. Because they don't have a lot of people in Iceland, they put the cameras up everywhere to catch you instead. And as the cop told me, it's very expensive to speed in Iceland. Take our word for it. If you want to go watch, we have a video about 3 costly mistakes we made in Iceland. That was the most costly mistake, is speeding.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Okay, so after you plan your transportation, the second thing that you might want to plan is what time of year you're going to go. Now, obviously, if you already have your tickets, then the time of year is already determined for you. But if you're trying to plan way ahead and you want to know what time of year is best to go to Iceland, there are some pros and cons of every time of year, we would say. So in the summer, it's going to be warm, which is be excellent, right?
Yeah.
Like so nice that you don't really have to worry about anything except maybe a light jacket. So warmth is great in the summer. Depending if you see this as a pro or con, but it's light for 23 hours out of the day, so there's not going to be much darkness, which could actually make it pretty hard to camper van, maybe.
It could be tough to sleep.
It could be hard to sleep if there's constantly light throughout the night. Coming in, but so that's probably a con because you need to be able to sleep pretty well. But it's gonna also be busy because it's probably their peak tourist season.
Oh yeah, it definitely is.
In the summer, just because of the way that goes. But you could always go in the summer. If you choose to go in the winter, you're gonna probably get a cheap flight because I've seen a lot of cheap flights this winter going out where you can go to Iceland. But the thing is, it's freezing. There's snow everywhere. It's going to be so much harder and more complicated to drive. But maybe if you are a skier or you love outdoor winter sports, then that could be the right time of year for you to go. Yeah. I know, like up in the north part of Iceland, they're really well known for their skiing around the world or whatever. So if you love skiing, then maybe winter would be the right time for you. For the average person, or that's going to be cold a lot, maybe winter isn't the best time. Plus, it's dark a lot of the. Right?
Yeah, it'll be dark for most of the time.
Yes. So we ultimately chose to go in fall, which I believe was perfect because either spring or fall, the shoulder seasons around summer are going to be fine. Spring, you may have a little bit of snow that's left that's still melting, but fall was great. We didn't see any snow there the whole time. It was not nearly as busy. It wasn't that busy at all.
Right.
So it was great, but it was still relatively warm. I mean, it was cold, but it was like in the 50s or the 40s. Like it didn't get too cold to go in the fall. And we had all these other bonuses. It was like a regular daylight and nighttime schedule that we were used to. So
it got dark around 9 o'clock at night, and it started the sun came up around 6 or 7. The only downside I'd say to going into shoulder season is that you might not have as many campsites open. I know when I was looking for campsites, maybe about a fifth of the campsites closed down after the summer season was over. So we went to Iceland in the first week of September, and which is technically the first week of the shoulder season. And we really enjoyed it, like we said, but I had to just kind of strategically pick campsites that stayed open up until October. There are plenty of them though, so you're going to have a just fine time finding them. It won't be hard, but you need to make sure, check ahead of time. So when we say go in fall, we say that with the caveat of going in the shoulder season directly after summer.
Yeah.
So like we said, first week of September wasn't bad.
Maybe
first week of October, that could be getting kind of dicey.
November, you're going to be cold.
Don't do it. All right, so one of the other big things about planning your Iceland trip is money. How much is it going to cost you? I hate to be the one to tell you this if you have not figured it out yet, but Iceland is one of the most expensive countries in the world to visit. Why, you ask? Well, it's because they're on an island near the Arctic Circle without a lot of natural resources. Yeah.
Except sheep.
They got a lot of sheep. Yeah.
Got on
sheep
your wall.
And fish. So if you're going to be eating something besides sheep and fish, that's usually going to be something that was imported. So it's going to cost a lot more. So pretty much everything there is expensive. Okay, the lodging, the food, the gas, the car rentals, like everything's expensive. So you just got to know that going in.
Yeah.
Gas, I think we've paid $120 per fill up if we wanted a full tank, and that's on a smaller vehicle. If If you're renting a large camper van, it could be double that. I don't know, but prepare for that. Food as well. If you want to eat out at a restaurant, you're going to be paying about $20 per person per meal for a basic meal. That's not saying like a 5-star restaurant. That's like
a bowl of soup.
Yeah, a bowl of
Literally.
soup. Going to get fast food, yeah, it'd be $20.
Coffee, like I saw it for $12.
Yeah.
The cheapest option for food, with all things, you know, there's always the budget option.
Yes.
And so the cheapest option is to plan when you land in Reykjavik and you get your van to go to the bonus, is what they called, the discount grocery store, buy all your food for the week there.
We loaded up as many dry goods like chips and dried fruit and
bread,
other things to snack on. Yeah, bread and peanut butter. You can make a lot of meals on the road and save so much money.
Also, a good thing for you to probably know is Iceland land is just a little bit different than what we're used to when you're driving through like a state or other countries where there's lots of cities, and then you drive and it's like a town, and you know, a well-populated town with like grocery stores and gas stations and a hospital and post office. Like, Iceland's not really like that, which kind of confused us. We were thinking, okay, we'll drive for a little bit and then there's a coffee shop or a restaurant or a gas station or something. But like, there's really not towns very often in Iceland. And so just be prepared that you may not actually be able to go out to eat that much if you're kind of, you know, if you don't buy enough food. Like, you might be hungry for one thing, or you might be stopping at gas stations and getting granola bars.
Right.
But that being said, some of the sites do have restaurants attached. So like Geyser is a good example. Is that in the Golden Circle?
Yeah, Geyser's in the Golden Circle.
Geyser's in the Golden Circle, and they have a restaurant attached there. So we stopped and ate there. Still expensive, but they...
I think we paid $30 for a pizza that was not even that substantial.
It was a good pizza. And on that note also, Iceland does have a lot of vegan food. Okay, that pizza we got was a vegan pizza, which is crazy because in our state, like, you don't drive out to some rural town and they have vegan pizza options. No way. But Iceland, pretty much every restaurant we went to had a vegan option, which was amazing. So if you're vegan or vegetarian, they got you. Yeah. Just be prepared to pay for it.
Also, when you're there, you can use your credit cards for about everything. They're a very technologically advanced country, so they don't have to deal with cash that often. I think the only time I had to use cash was when I was at a campsite and somebody came around collecting the basically change to stay there, and it was only like $10, so that was really cheap.
Yeah.
But everything else, literally everything else, we just swiped a card for, and that was fine. So that's good to know. So just make sure that you have a credit card that doesn't have international fees, no foreign transaction fees, and that way you're set. So another hard thing to do when you're planning your trip is you have to plan all the sites that you want to see, and you have to try to arrange, you know, where am I going to stay this night? Where am I going to stay this night? How far do I have to drive? How far is the next gas station? All these things. I really recommend you get a guide. I personally used the Lonely Planet Iceland Ring Road guidebook, and this thing was so helpful. I was able to plan out so many of the sites and the stops along the way. It's an invaluable resource to have with you. I highly recommend it. We'll link it down below. It was only like $12 on Amazon. Such a good deal for the value that it provides.
Yeah, so there's a whole map of
whole fold-out map.
the Ring Road, and then like you just plan, okay, a lot of the sites are here, we're going to stop here, this is where we'll stay overnight.
Definitely get a guidebook. I recommend this one, but I'm sure there's other great ones out there. So if you want to see how we planned ours and what different sites that we stopped at to see along the road, just go watch our series of videos. We did a video for each day of the 7 days that we were seeing Iceland, and it worked out really well. And that's the beauty of the Ring Road, is that it's all in a big circle. So you just do things as they come up on the Ring Road. It's a really great system.
It is, and most of the sites are pretty close to the Ring Road as well. Okay, so we've gone over transportation, what time of year you should go, the costs that you need to be prepared to pay, and then how to plan your trip, actually like planning it out and resources for that. So pretty much the only other thing that we can hit on briefly is what exactly you should pack. So obviously we went in fall, so we don't really have experience for winter and things like that. I'm sure you can do your own research about going to Iceland in the winter if that's what you're doing. But one thing that we found really important is rain gear. So we bought good rain coats, and we also bought rain pants. And then we also had waterproof shoes. And the reason for that is it did rain some of the days, and it does rain in Iceland, but you don't want to let that stop you from seeing the sights. So just being sure you can stay dry even in the rain. But then also, some of these waterfalls have so much spray off, like you will get soaked. So like Skogafoss waterfall, for example, it was one of my favorites, and we definitely have a vlog on it, but it soaked you. Like you were drenched if you wanted to get up close, but like you totally did want to get up close and get pictures because it was like one of the most amazing, powerful sights that I've ever seen, to be standing under a waterfall like that. But yeah, you were drenched. So we definitely recommend having good water gear and rain gear. Waterproof shoes also helps in case you have to hike through something that's like muddy or step through some waters. For one of the best hike ever is what the video is called. We'll link it here. But in that one, we had to walk like across a river, and so having good shoes for that, I feel like, was pretty essential.
Yeah.
Another thing that you might want to remember to pack, or you can purchase like big ones at the Bonus grocery store, but just having something to carry water in, a water bottle. Luckily in Iceland, it's really nice because they have some of the purest water in the world because of all the glacial water and the waterfalls and stuff. So there's no lack of water. You can drink the water out of the sink at your campsite. It's like, it's safe. So definitely bring something that you can fill up every day at these campsites, or places that you stop to use the bathroom because you want to be staying hydrated. So something to carry the water in is important.
We hope you found this video helpful. If you did, leave us a like below just to encourage us. And leave a comment too if you have any other questions on something we didn't cover.
Yeah.
We probably did experience it, but we just don't have time to tell every single detail about a trip like this.
Absolutely. We love connecting with you. So if you leave a comment and just ask, we will promise that we'll answer your question.
We're still a small channel, so we're super engaged.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Please subscribe, connect with us more, and hope to see you around. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.